Scottsdale is the 45th largest city in America. It sits as a suburb just northeast of Phoenix, Arizona. When the COVID-19 pandemic hit this year, many people were affected by the virus, but millions more had their lives and businesses destroyed by local officials who ignored data, abused their power, and enacted unconstitutional measures. Today, I'm talking with a former U.S. Marine who decided to stand up and fight back. Here at Self-Made Training Facility with Mr. Jeff Mahaffey, literally in the octagon, which is an appropriate metaphor for what you're going through right now. Thanks for sitting down with me tonight, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Adrian, I appreciate you giving us your platform to tell our story and to let the people know what's going on here in Arizona at Self-Made. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So kind of give everybody just a little bit of a background of what's going on. You have a gym here in Scottsdale, Arizona. And you've been one of the few people across the country that has actually taken a stand and refused to comply with the governor's orders for these COVID lockdowns that we've seen across the country. Tell me a little bit about what you've been going through throughout this entire summer.
Yeah, correct. Early 2020 when COVID first started coming about, just quickly down and dirty. At first, Governor Ducey put out the statewide closure for everybody but essential businesses. That included gyms, restaurants, everything like that. We happily complied at that time. We didn't want to be those people that were putting people at risk when this was such a very hot topic and very new to everybody. By the end of April, when that closure was kind of coming to an end, we decided to open back up May 4th due to lack of statistics and due to lack of data that showed this was as bad as what they were playing it out to be. We opened up our Scottsdale location May 4th, our Phoenix location May 1st. And pretty much since then, our Scottsdale location has been the hot topic as far as gyms go in Scottsdale. So, Governor Ducey came out end of June, was closing gyms and bars. We had the Scottsdale police come on June 30th and express to us that as of the 1st of July, we need to close our doors permanently because gyms and bars were on the closure list. I expressed to those cops that I did not care about the governor's order. I will take all citations up front. Let's just save taxpayer dollars, time, money, everything. Please just give it to me up front because come July 1st and July 31st, we're gonna be open.
I mean, my take is just from my perspective, as a business owner, as a personal trainer that's trying to take care of my clients, trying to provide, an outlet for them, for their physical and their mental health. I mean, I feel like I'm getting stepped on,
I feel like we've been singled out to a certain degree. And when we look at it, we found that a lot of small businesses, trainers like me, like Jeff, like Bruno, we're here to help the community. And right now we've been targeted and actually told that we've been hurting the community. And people have actually walked in through the front doors saying that we're killing people.
It got to a point where it was just very threatening to the people coming in and out of the facility. It was intimidating that they're setting up in the middle of our parking rows with their patrol cars facing the facility. And it was intimidating. People didn't want to leave and walk to the parking lot with the fear of getting a ticket or a citation or being followed out of the parking lot. And there was 3 or 4 occasions where we actually had people followed out of the parking lot and pulled over.
So they got pulled over by Scottsdale police just for having come to the gym?
For having come to the gym, and they would pull them over for things such as tinted windows. And then they would immediately bypass the tinted window thing and say, "Did you just come from Scottsdale Gym?" Scottsdale Training Facility. And it was it was a very quick transition to, I just saw you come from the gym. If I see you go back there again, I'm gonna cite you. Now, I can't even talk about how many levels of just wrong this is and how unlawful this is.
Is it even, sorry to interrupt, is it even lawful to cite an individual who wants to come here and work out, even though there's no...
Absolutely not. They can tell the business owner that they need to close their doors, but there is no law, there's no mandate, there's no regulation that says you cannot go to gyms and bars. It just says that those places cannot be open.
Gotcha.
So that alone in itself is just wrong on so many levels. And we have those people documented, you know, and transcribed telling their story. So when we do go to court, that we can use this as, you know, examples and exhibits of just the amount of overreach and the abuse of power that has kind of taken place during this time. Yeah. So now fast forward to, I have, we don't even know, 40-something citations. Each one, they're class one misdemeanor criminal charges, all holding a maximum penalty of $2,500 and 6 months in prison. Again, I have 40-something of these, so you can do the math on that of what that carries in total weight. Things died down for a bit once the state, everything opened back up. The Arizona Health Department and Governor Ducey said that you had to fill out a attestation form, I'm sorry if I'm saying that incorrectly, to reopen your gym. Reading that form, my wife and myself decided that this was not a good idea for us to fill out. The reason is number one, it's extremely vague. The consequences of them finding an infraction are very vague on what it is that they would do. That they would use their jurisdiction to penalize your company to what they thought was a okay, you know, result, if you will. And it did not make sense for us to sign that with how vague it was. And you're basically saying that you're gonna comply 110% to what is on that.
Yeah, but and you never even shut down.
And we never shut down.
So you never needed to sign anything in order to reopen.
The way I looked at it, why would I reinstate my gym when we never closed? Right. I mean, everything died down for, man, probably 2 months, 3 months. And then all of a sudden, we have now ramped back up to cops showing up daily, Arizona Health Department just busting through our doors, not doing any sort of inspection, not looking, not doing anything, literally coming in, asking for myself and slapping an immediate closure order on the door.
Did they ever present any sort of data at all that shows that people were contracting any sort of virus at not only this gym, but any other gym in the valley?
Not one bit. Absolutely not one bit.
So they're basing these policies on zero proof at all?
Zero proof. It's all opinion, and it's all just, what I'm going to call fictional data.
And when we read the summons that was issued to us, and to Jeff specifically, for this gym, about closing down with the Arizona Department of Health, there isn't a single element within this summons that suggests something that we could look up or corroborate with fact. Okay? There's emotions, there's speculation, and there's a lot of political, to be quite honest, because if you look at it, it's political. You can't find a single fact in the summons that suggests we are killing people, is their claim.
How would you prove that someone came into our facility and got COVID? How would you prove that someone went into the grocery store and got COVID? It's really hard to prove. I believe in my heart that we're doing the right thing and that we're a bigger part of the solution than what's happening to us right now.
Throughout this whole thing, we've never had statistical data on gyms specifically. Now, obviously, I look at gyms specifically considering that's the business I run. The IHRS just came out with a study that 49.4 million people were tested that are gym goers in health and fitness clubs and came back with a 0.0023 infection rate. Not even a mortality rate, just an infection rate. And based off of what you just said, using these PCR tests and things of that nature, how much of that is actually even true, that it was actually COVID? So that is why we've been taking this stand. Now, literally tonight, because we have not mandated masks in our facility, and we have not reinstated our gym via the Arizona Department of Health, we received a lawsuit and a restraining order from the health department in Arizona here. And now we have 20 days to basically reply to this and take our next course of action.
So you kind of been down this road before. You know, they come and they put notices on the door and whatnot. Do you just tear them down and keep going, or what's?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've done so far. And, you know, some might not agree with that, but at the same time, you know, there is a constitutional right that we all have to be free Americans. There's a constitutional right that we have to thrive in an industry and a business of our choice. That is exactly what I'm doing. You know, I was in the Marine Corps for just about 10 years. I contracted privately with the military, third party wise, with a company for another 4 years. And I take that very seriously, very near and dear to my heart. Something that I fought for the little girl, for these trainers, people that are providing for their families. I want to take full advantage of that American dream.
The Supreme Court is already saying that a lot of these governor orders are unconstitutional, right? But Constitution aside, just think as a man, like, nobody makes choices for my family besides me, right? Jeff, same way. You think Jeff is gonna let anybody tell him, you know, the policies on how he's gonna run his family and when they're allowed to go out to eat or when they're allowed to take their kids to school? No. And that's what we are basically asking the government to do right now, is to be daddy, be the, you know, the person or the entity that tells our families what we're allowed to do, tells our businesses when we're allowed to operate.
The college I went to is the United States Marine Corps. I learned everything, structure, you know, not only from my father, hard work, blue collar work, everything like that. I learned from the United States Marine Corps, structure, discipline, honor, courage, commitment. Those are the things I learned. That's why I'm taking this stand right now. It's something deeper. This is not a self-righteous stand of giving a big middle finger to Governor Ducey, to the government, to anything like that.
Feeding my family, my wife, my kids, that is a big deal. But not just feeding my family, it's doing it with a good conscience. There's too much research now. In March, when the regulations first came out, when they first started to implement these things, we understood that, hey, we don't know much about COVID-19. It's a different story now. It really is. And from the United States all the way to Europe, we now know there's very little risk, and there's very little risk in addition to a seasonal flu. So are we going to be doing this every November until May?
I think if we look at you know, how people do quarantines, you know, throughout history, you take the high risk people and you protect them, you know. It feels like an overreach, you know. I wake up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. every day to better the lives of my clients and push my business forward, and it's not fair for someone to tell me, deem me unessential, and say that I'm putting the community at risk. You know, they said in the paperwork, the Arizona Department of Health, that we're putting people at risk. I would argue that I'm helping people, and I don't feel that what they're doing is constitutionally right.
I mean, you provide a facility and a platform for other trainers to run their businesses out of. You have, what, 50 trainers here that work and 55 at a different location.
Yeah.
So this is about more than just you. This is the livelihood of more than 100 people whose families would be impacted 100%. By this unconstitutional order.
100%. We're not your big box gym, as we call it. We're not your LA Fitness. We're not your 24-hour fitness and Planet Fitness. We give personal trainers the opportunity to be entrepreneurs. I don't want a personal trainer. I want a like-minded individual that wants to provide value to customers, to clients, to people that need, a better immune system. They need to lose weight. You know, if you watch somebody that goes through a transformation, that truly goes through a transformation in the fitness world, it is astonishing what it does, not only for their health and fitness, but for their personal life, their marriage, their business, their work life, everything like that. I have so many individuals that I have watched lose as little as 5 pounds and as much as to 100 pounds. And you watch their business, they start excelling. Whether it's them working for themselves or them working for somebody else, it just levels, it gives you, more confidence. It makes you feel better about yourself. You're in a better state of mind. Let's not even get into the mental health aspect of people like myself that were in the military or not even in the military that use fitness as an outlet. We can go on, with just for days on how health and fitness can improve people's lives.
You have multiple clients who will be considered sort of high risk in terms of what people are looking to, as far as the demographic that people are looking to protect from the COVID-19 virus, right?
Yeah, I have one client, he's 65 years old. He's a 3-time cancer survivor. And if anybody's at high risk, it's definitely him.
How often does he come in?
He comes in once a week right now. He used to come in every day when all the other gyms were shut down.
So what does he think, though? He's in the category of people who they tell you should be afraid and should be locked up in the house and basically boarded up, have a mask on every single where they go, maybe have gloves on, a face shield. Yet he feels totally comfortable coming in to get a workout with you. What do you think?
I think you have to take a step back and look at his life through his perspective. His life is incredibly uncomfortable. He wakes up every day and he's spending probably 30 minutes clearing his throat because that's where his cancer was, so he can talk, so he can get all those juices flowing in his mouth. He's in pain. He's cured, I guess you could say, but he's now dealing with the side effects of chemotherapy, and he's got his right trap was removed, his right lymph nodes are removed. So by no means is his life easy. So for him to come into this facility and work out, it's all he has. That's how he was able to beat this. He's a pretty big dude. He's 65 years old, but he's pretty bulked up. If he was not in the gym actively, building himself up and focusing on his health, he wouldn't have survived. And how you show up for your health is ultimately how you show up for all areas of your life. So if he's in here pushing himself to the max every day, he's 65 years old. He's missing his right trap, his right lymph nodes. He can bench 275 pounds. If he's building himself up physically, his mental capacity goes up automatically. This is a sanctuary for his quality of life.
When Jeff received a summons from the Arizona Department of Health, I went right online and I thought, okay, how many studies have been done on exercise, like weight training, and immune function? I came up with 3,200 studies stating that immune function increases, or exercise increases immune function. And that was my premise from the get-go, was exercise, muscles, and overall fitness will increase one's ability to fight infection. So I thought, this is a remedy for COVID-19. So why would we shut down gyms and local businesses to provide health in terms of COVID-19? No, we should do the opposite. We should be opening up more gyms.
So the demographics of our gym are very widespread. I have a 9-year-old daughter that does boxing classes. We have even younger individuals that do boxing and speed and agility work and things like that, just to get kids introduced to fitness, keeping them active, especially during this time. All the way up to, at Phoenix, I think we have a 96-year-old male individual that, you would never guess, amazing shape. But what's more just astonishing is out of the Scottsdale facility alone, we have 3 individuals, one currently with cancer and 2 others in remission. One is a 3-time cancer patient that is in remission currently and comes in here and does not wear a mask. He chooses not to wear a mask. We have a female individual, is a very successful businesswoman who has a couple different autoimmune diseases and gets chemotherapy on a regular basis, and she doesn't wear a mask and chooses not to wear a mask. The way I see it is, if we're sitting in our house and we're not being exposed to anything, we're not doing ourselves any favor. Even if you come out and you come to the gym and you microdose your immune system to some germs and everything, that's better off than us wearing a mask and then sitting in our house and not being exposed to anything. We're setting ourselves up for failure when we do this. And so that is one of the reasons why we choose not to wear a mask in the facility. I'm not going to tell somebody they have to wear it. Not only that, if you've worked out with a mask on, and especially older individuals, if you're the Arizona Health Department and I tell you, you need to wear a mask, and let's say you have an incident or you hyperventilate or you have an asthma attack or something and you're wearing that mask, me as the owner, who do I call now? Am I calling the Arizona Health Department and say, hey, you're liable for this? They're going to be like, no, bro, sorry, So, our demographic is very wide ranged, and we get nothing but praise for thank you for not making us wear a mask. Now, if you come in and you want to wear a mask, by all means, that is your God-given right for you to choose, right? We are all Americans. We have the right to choose what we do and what we don't do. So if you choose to wear a mask, I am all for it. I will never tell you you're wrong for doing it, and I will applaud you, and that is your right to do that. So, it's kind of a funny situation that they want us to just mask up and don't let anything affect us. Like this cotton piece of paper is really going to save our lives. We have study after study that showed that they do not stop anything. The virus, it's smaller particles, everything. We can go on for days about it, getting through the mask and still getting into your system. What are we really stopping? Not much of anything.
What sort of reaction have you gotten from people around the community? I'm sure it's been pretty mixed with people who both love and hate you.
Yeah, it is mixed, but 9 times out of 10, it's a positive response. We have phone call after phone call of, thank you for what you're doing. I saw you on this, or I heard you on the radio. I applaud you. We support you. Know that you're not alone. And then I have the 3:30 in the morning death threat voicemails that, you're going to get what's coming to you. I hope your kids and wife get COVID and you're left alone, and, all this stuff. There's just, and even when people bash me on social media, you can look through every single one of my posts. Any negative comment I get, I don't bash them. I don't play the game. I don't argue with them. I say, I really appreciate your opinion. I'm so glad we live in a country where you're able to voice that and express how you feel about this situation. Even though it's different than mine, I applaud you for that. I don't get in an argument. I don't tell them they're wrong. I don't care. You have the right to your own opinion, and I'm glad I do as well. So, the feedback is good. Very, very good. Business has never been better. I'll just tell you that.
And I'm glad to hear it because, there are so few people willing to stand up right now and take a stand. We have multiple court rulings. We have a Supreme Court ruling that some of these governors and their the policies that they've instituted are unconstitutional. And from just any objective standpoint, any objective measure, we can see that there's no authority for a lot of these people to institute the policies and mandates that they are.
Right.
And we can go state by state and look at countless examples of people who flagrantly violate their own edicts. Mm-hmm. So we have, Governor Newsom.
Yeah.
telling people not to go out to eat, and then this guy goes out to eat with what, 15 people, no mask on, not distancing, none of it. Yeah. You know, there have been multiple officials across the country, so it's just rank hypocrisy from these people.
Absolutely.
And you know, good for thee, but not for me.
Yeah, and you know, that's really sad to where I definitely take pride in. I feel like I am setting the example not only for other small businesses, at least I hope I'm setting the example for other small businesses, but also all the small businesses being the personal trainers within my facility. That, hey, listen, it might be the hard road, right? It's definitely not the easy way to go, and it hasn't been. And there's some days where I literally get here and I sit in my truck and I just don't want to get out. And there's days where I'm over it. And then there's other days where I meet with dudes and I'm fired up and I'm ready to take this head on. And thankfully, those days outweigh the bad, but it's letting people know you have a voice. You have constitutional rights. At the end of the day, the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, right? So Governor Ducey, all these Governor Newsom, Governor Murphy, all these governors can make their mandates and everything like that. But unfortunately, at the end of the day, our constitutional rights are set in stone. A governor cannot take away our freedoms. And I think for some reason, and I now don't get me wrong, I've never been in that situation, never been a governor. I don't know if it's people in your ear, I don't know if it's people telling you what to do, or if you just feel you have that power to take away from free Americans that have a right to live and thrive in this country, and you feel you could just take that away, you take that American dream away. That is astonishing to me that you feel you have that power.
Well, it's tough too because, you know, we have examples from, again, around the country. Notable examples are South Dakota and Florida, where governors have said, you know, at this point, hey,
we're done.
It's just wide open.
Yeah.
You know, and I think in Florida they've actually, Governor DeSantis put a ban on mask mandates.
Right.
So, and their numbers are fantastic.
Right.
They're improving leaps and bounds.
Right.
South Dakota has always had great numbers. So we have examples where people that have had the least amount of restrictions have the best numbers overall. It defies logic why these people think that these lockdowns and these draconian measures and shutting down people's businesses are going to have any impact on stopping the virus whatsoever. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah, and I don't think this has ever been about the virus. And we talked about it a little bit earlier in boosting the immune system, staying healthy. We haven't seen anything from, at least I haven't seen anything from any news outlet, from any governor, from anybody stating, hey, listen, this virus, and I'm not saying the virus is not real. That's not what I'm getting at. It is, obviously there is a real virus out there, right? People are getting sick, and I understand that. But why aren't we preaching healthy food options? No liquor consumption, right? If we're being locked down, do you really think the best thing to do is sit in your house and Uber Eats and get booze? How is that helping you? We all know how you feel after a McDonald's meal and, you know, an alcoholic beverage. I don't know about you, I enjoy drinking, you know, and I enjoy eating fast food, but in moderation, right? And you have people that are just sitting and doing this and thriving in it. Why aren't we talking to people about making healthy food options? Getting outside and getting some physical activity, getting some vitamin D, getting some sunlight, right? Drinking a gallon of water a day. What that does for the body and what that does for the immune system is astonishing. So I don't think it's ever been about healthy Americans. You know, the government doesn't make money off of healthy individuals.
You know, what we're getting right now is a taste through this whole experience of what we're going to get with more and more government, right? For years we've been saying, keep the government out of my bedroom. You know, my body, my choice. All of that. Nobody wants government telling them what to do, right? And now we're basically having people that are asking for the government to tell us when we're allowed to work, tell us what we have to wear on our face, tell us, you know, how we're allowed to run our lives. And it's the complete opposite of what we've always fought for. You know, keep the government out of my bedroom. How popular is that, right? We don't want the government telling us anything about what we do personally, except now all of a sudden it's flipped. And if the government, you know, is getting more and more power, do you think they're going to give that back? No. Any little bit that they grab, they keep it, right? And they don't. They're not going to wake up one day and say like, hey, I don't think we need this power anymore over these people. Let's sign a law to like reduce our power. That doesn't happen, right? So we have to be very careful what we wish for. And I feel like the stuff that Jeff is going through right now is an indication of what we're going to get if we hand over these big programs like healthcare, and we hand over all these extra powers to government and tell them to run our lives for us. We're not going to get that shit back. We're just not. So I feel like Jeff really is the tip of the spear, leading this charge against, just taking a stand, right? And it's not just about keeping his business open and making money. It's like, no, like we are always fighting as Americans for the right to make our own choices. And that simple thing right now has been taken away. You don't have the right to make your choice. Whatever happened to my body, my choice.
You got to stand where your heart is and know that what you're doing is the right thing. It's unfortunate that, what's going on, but we have to stand up, because if we don't, who knows what the next thing is going to be. I've been here since day one, so we opened up, I believe, the beginning of May, and it's just completely transformed my life. My life, the clients that I impact, because I don't just work with people inside of this gym. I work with, people online and things like that. So people have observed my life just, escalate at such a fast rate. And the more I improve my life, the more I improve the lives around me. And right now, that is being threatened.
The Marine Corps and my military time in service and just that mindset, that military mindset, yeah, it absolutely does. Mission accomplishment and troop welfare are two big things in the Marine Corps. Mission accomplishment is always number one, troop welfare is always number two. The way I look at it is me accomplishing my mission here and standing up and speaking for those who are working out of our platform, out of our facility, and troop welfare being keeping these people putting food on the table. I am up against some very big odds, and you talk to a lot of people and I'm gonna get crushed, absolutely crushed, and I might get crushed, but guess what? Let's say they bankrupt me, they bankrupt my gym, and I go out of business. I'm always gonna find a way to make more money at the end of the day. I figured out how to do it now, I can figure out how to do it again. I might not be the smartest, but I'm a damn hard worker, and I know how to succeed, and I know how to provide for my family, and that'll always be number one. But even if I do get crushed, I can lay my head on my pillow, I could kiss my kids goodnight with a clear conscience, and I'm gonna sleep like a baby. Because no matter what, in my gut, I know I did the right thing.
Dude, it's the complete opposite of, what we have always fought for. And I think it's just a taste of what we're going to get if we just keep letting them take the power. So we have to take a stand somewhere. Jeff, thankfully, has put his flag in the ground, and we need to stand behind him and just keep leading that charge.
People like Jeff, who on May 4th said to me point blank, he said, "Glenn, we're not closing down. Don't you worry about a thing." I thought, thank God, he got it. He's got it, not just from a health perspective, but from a constitutional perspective. He said, no, we're not closing down based on random facts or hearsay or basic common sense. He said, no. You guys are going to stay open. Don't you worry about a thing. Every time I ask him, hey, are we going to close down because of these new regulations? He's like, no, not even close. I think, thank God, I get to feed my 16-year-old and my 3.5-year-old.
It's gonna take people getting uncomfortable. I like being uncomfortable. I like being in uncomfortable conversations to where, let's say if you and I have a disagreement and you feel uncomfortable, most likely I feel pretty good. A big David Goggins quote is, be uncommon amongst uncommon men. And I like to be uncommon against uncommon people. I like to stand up for something. I like to be that guy that somebody might look at and be like, oh shit, like that dude's like, he has something to say, right? I don't know what it's gonna take to get people to stand up and fight. It's gonna take that click in their brain. It's gonna take that light bulb moment. I had a trainer tell me, you gotta draw a line in the sand. What is your line? Where is it too much, too far? You know, now you're messing with my family. Now you're messing with my money. Now you're doing this. You know, there's a line in the sand that we all have to have. My line was a long time ago.
And look at LA.
Yeah.
You know, the shutting off water and electricity if you have an unpermitted event at a house. We're not talking about having a big fitness event or anything. We're talking about you have too many people at your house, and now the government is going to shut the electricity off, spoil all the food in your fridge, shut the water off so you can't wash your ass. Like, are you kidding me? Like, because if we let them do that now, what is going to be their next reason to do that? They're going to come up with another harebrained reason. I don't know, maybe you don't pay your taxes. Maybe, I'll just go somewhere extreme. Maybe you got a DUI. Oh, now we're, you know what I mean? They're going to start cutting off utilities, start affecting the way that you make money, start affecting the way that you live. Like, they're already doing that. This is not some story. They're doing that today in LA.
Some people, I don't think they feel that that line's been crossed yet. But I pray to God it comes soon. And I really hope that people start standing up. If we had other small business owners, if we all had a united front here in Arizona and across the nation, they can't stop us. They really can't. You know, if we all stood up and stood for our businesses, whether it was gyms, anybody, it does not matter, whatever the small business is, if we all stood up and say, you know what, we're not taking it, we're not closing our doors, we're not mandating masks, it would be overwhelming. It would be at a point where they go, you know what, it is what it is. And I think you would see a lot of this stuff subside, you know, and that's what I could hope for. But to be honest with you, Adrian, I wish I had the answer of how to get people to stand for something, to be men, to be uncommon against uncommon men. I would love to see it. And you know, a good example of that is that lawsuit I just got today. All the numbers, statistics, everything in there are old. They're from the beginning of the pandemic. They're not current. They're not up to date. And they're giving just erroneous numbers that, one, aren't even fact-checked. For one, we don't even know exactly if they were true and accurate. So the fact that they're using that much old data just shows me that they don't have much to stand on as it is. They're just mad that I'm not in compliance. You know, I think, I just think if I could have gone about this a little differently, you know, maybe I did comply and nothing came of it. You know, would that have been easier on my life? Probably. May I not lose my business over it? Most likely not. But at the same time, I'm just not that guy that's just willing to accept government overreach like that. I mean, just a gross abuse of government overreach. Me telling you, you're not essential.
And if you let them keep doing this, like I said before, they're not going to give that power back. They're going to keep taking more and more and more. And then where are we going to find ourselves? Not somewhere that I want to live. You know what I mean? That's insane. I will not sit by and have a politician decide when my water is on in my house or when my kid's allowed to go to school.